repeat their request that we want the city council to take action. We want it discussed as a resolution and as an action item for your vote. Maybe you'll vote it up, maybe you'll vote it down. But I ask that you please do not ignore the instructions of 782 registered voters. There's a burden of proof here that has been unduly placed on me. I'm not the one that objected to the petition. The state law says that the burden is on the verified objector petition, the objector. And yet this entire proceeding has been collaboration between the city attorney and the attorney of the objectors on, oh, here, don't you want this entered as an exhibit?
Excuse me, Mr. McIntyre.
I'm making a closing statement.
There has been no collaboration between Mr. Castle and myself. Ms. Holmes brought that document up, and I asked if Mr. Castle wanted to have it entered as an exhibit. If she had done that in your case, I would have given you the same courtesy. There has been no collaboration, and I do not appreciate that allegation.
Continue, Mr. McIntyre.
I object to interruptions. It's unprofessional and it's discourteous. The burden of proof falls on the objectors, and they make an empirical statement that we need 2,276 signatures. It's in writing, it's in front of you, it's empirical. That number is wrong. It's based on the last municipal election. Now, this has got a lot, there hasn't been a home rule petition, I believe, in either 23 or 26 years. This has a lot of new things on. There's not a lot of experts out there. Many of them are dead. We did talk with an attorney in Rockford whose father was involved and has since passed away in the Rockford one. He tried to get us answers. And to tell you, as an example of how difficult it is, when have you ever heard this? An attorney refunded our retainer of $1,000 because he couldn't get answers. How many times have you ever heard that?
Is that a question or a statement?
It's part of my closing statement. It's part of my closing statement. Again, on behalf of the 782 signers and registered voters, we pray that the municipal officers and electoral board dismiss the verified objector's petition in its entirety. We also pray that the city council place this matter on the agenda of the special city council meeting before the deadline expires, while certification by the county clerk would in itself place the question on the ballot. A discussion relative to a resolution, regardless of the outcome of the vote count by members of city council, may alleviate the fears held by all three members of the municipal officers, electoral board, and one of the objectors. The fears that made this petition the #1 threat facing the city of DeKalb. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McIntyre. Any other final comments from the objectors?
None.
Okay. Would you like to make a statement? At this point in time, we'll each make a statement and then deliberate publicly what our findings are.
Well, as I'm sitting here listening to both sides of this, I can see that Mr. McIntyre has been operating under a lot of misconceptions. One of them is that he thinks that the county clerk or the city clerk has any obligation to provide them legal information on how to file a petition or an objection. We do not, when we are advised by attorneys not to give that information out, if we even happen to know it. Now, I happen to know a lot about the candidate process, but I know nothing about abolishing the home rule public question, because in 31 years since I started working here, this has never come up. So I definitely would not be able to give anybody that information because I don't know. As to your question about an attorney, I find that a little unusual in that I have to ask attorneys frequently to interpret the law for me, and you're correct, I've never had one tell me that they couldn't get the answer, because the attorneys usually read the law book and come up with the answer for you. Or at least the attorneys I've dealt with over the years, this one and previous city attorneys, have always done that for me. I think it's unfortunate when the citizens of DeKalb signed a petition not clearly understanding what they were signing, because you yourself have said in contradictory statements, did you want this to go to the city council for them to act on it, or did you want it to go on the ballot for a referendum? You told me one thing in writing, you've said a different thing today. It's unfortunate because when you passed out that petition to the people, you didn't have the information they needed, or you didn't have the right information. It's too bad that you didn't understand in election law there are different requirements for different types of elections. You yourself referred to one when you talked about another process on a waterway or something, only requiring 500 signatures. That should be an indication right there that there are different requirements for different types of petitions. And I'm sorry, I think you interpreted the law wrong on this one. And regardless of our feelings, my feelings at least, on the issue, my personal feelings, I have to follow the law. And it looks pretty plain to me right now what the law is on this, that it should have been 10% of the registered voters in the whole city, not just on those who choose to vote.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Ms. Gorski?
I think it's, as far as a referendum to be at the next election, I think that I feel badly and unfortunate for the people that signed this petition. People that signed it are in no way indicating whether they're going to vote for it or against it. They are signing to get it on the petition. And I feel bad that what may be the spirit of their wanting this public discussion at the next election did not have sufficient numbers of signatures to meet the requirements in the statute. Elected officials are asked at the very beginning to swear an oath to uphold and support and defend the Constitution. And the statute as written and read and certified by the county clerk was specific, and there are not enough signatures in order for us to consider the petition for the referendum to be complete and to be put on the ballot. So I would have to believe that the objection is valid.
Thank you, Ms. Gorski. I too feel it's unfortunate that the work was put into it by the petitioners to get individuals to come forward with their wish to have this placed on the ballot. I was not approached. One of the defendants' arguments was that it was he's approached the city council. I was never approached by anyone. I don't know whether any of the other city council members were approached to have this placed for discussion on the city council agenda. In fact, if I remember correctly, at least the way I understood it, I may have misunderstood it. Mr. McIntyre, you stood in these chambers and said the petition has been signed, and now the voters will have an opportunity to vote in the election November 7th. I may or may not have heard that correctly, so I'm not making that